Hot potato salad. What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to, hey, the first listens. What do we do here? We listen to songs for the very first time. We listen to songs from bands we might know, bands that we don't know. Today, we know this band. This is for Faces K. We're doing some Mr. Bungle, or Mr. Bungle. That was Japanese for Mr. Bungle. We're going to do, what was the name of the song? It's Hypocrite, Habla something or other. Hypocrites / Habla Español O Muere. And that's the song that we're doing here. Now, I had a quick question about this album. That comes from the Ragining Wrath of the Easter Bunny. That's the 2020 album that they released. This was the demo album that Mr. Bungle did before they released the original self-titled Mr. Bungle album. Yes, this is the demos that they recut, but they did it with Scott Ian and I think Dave Lombardo and all of them. But I believe I read a story that said the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny was the demo cassettes that they did, the songs that they were doing before they did the real twisted 1991 album, Mr. Bungle. Let's learn about Mr. Bungle as we do. Then we listen to the song Hypocrites, Habla Español O Muere. Muere. If I'm saying that right. So let's do it. Sound good? Let's go. Mr. Bungle, they got 168,998 monthly listeners to the Spotify account. A lot of wacky weirdos. Top 5 Jamaronis, 4 of them come from the album California, which is the 1999 album. I like that one probably the best. It's the most palatable to me. Other than this new one, I've only heard, I think we did another Mr. Bungle song. It's a lot heavier, thrashier. In the number 1 slot, you got Pink Cigarette. And that's got 5.8 million plays. You got Retro Vertigo, 4.9 million plays. These are good numbers. Sweet Charity, 3.7 million. Then it goes to the original self-titled album, Mr. Bungle, and it's Carousel. Twisted and weird and wacky and wild and whiskful. 2.5 million, and then the air-conditioned night, and that's got 2.3. That comes from California too. Hey, since we're talking about all this albums and stuff, let's look into the albums and see what they've done. They got 1991's Mr. Bungle. That is just a twisted, weird, bizarre LSD trip. Disco Volante, I remember a couple of songs from that album. That came out in 1995. You got California, 1999. The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny comes out in 2021. And then it says here 2020, The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny. And I'm seeing something here. It says 2021, The Night They Come Home Live. Oh, and it is a live album. So they've released an entire live album of their weirdness. Now we're going to look into them related artists. This will take us down a rabbit hole of maybe other wacky, strange, and bizarre bands that we might want to check out. Or maybe they're just regular. Here's a pretty good one. Another one featuring Mike Patton, Tomahawk. I like that. Then you've got Mike Patton. And then you've got Phantomus. And Mike Patton's in that with King Buzzo. And I think Dave Lombardo's in that. That's another pretty good band. Peeping Tom. If you've never heard Peeping Tom, that is Mike Patton. And it's kind of got a hip-hoppy, soulful vibe to it. You got General Patton. I'm pretty sure that's got Mike Patton in it because it's called General Patton. Secret Chiefs 3. You got Estradasphere. Les Claypool. He's the bass playing maniac for Primus. Dog Fashion Disco. Primus. I put Primus and Mr. Bungle playing shows together. Dub Trio. And Lovage. So there you have the related artists for the band. And now we're going to get into that bio, learn a bit about this band, and then listen to the song Hypocrites. And you got an image here. It's a black and white image, and it's very unappealing to the faces of Scott Ian and Mike Patton, and I think his name's Trey something or other, Sputnik. They look like they're haggard and old and tired and weary, just like me. And they're saying, Shane, we don't have the strength to kick you in the nuts today. Mr. Bungle's sound and approach are a unique mix of the experimental, the abstract, and the absurd, commencing in 1985 as a neck-snapping death metal outfit, right? The Northern California underwent a full sonic lobotomy in the 90s, operating under the influence of ska, heavy metal, disco, thrash, funk, and avant-garde jazz, often in the same song. And issuing a trio of acclaimed and idiosyncratic albums, Mr. Bungle, Disco Volante, and California, before ceasing operations in 1999. Mr. Bungle reconvened in 2020 for a series of shows and a release of a re-recording of their 1986 demo, The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny. They started, we're just going to read this because I see Trevor Dunn, that's the guitar player. They started in 1985 in a small California town named Eureka. My band played some shows there, and we went into this bar, and when Mike Patton was not on tour, he did some kind of music trivia at this bar. And I said, wow, that's crazy. The group's bassist Trevor Dunn, drummer Danny Heifetz, alto saxophonist Theo Longale, tenor saxophonist clarinetist Clinton McKinnon, vocalist Mike Patton, and guitarist Trey Spruance met while in high school and took their moniker from an extremely corny children's educational film regarding bad habits. It was featured in Pee Wee Herman's HBO special back in the early 80s. So I bet you didn't know that, and if you did know that, there's probably people out there that didn't have any clue about any of that, and now what? They've learned something here. So now for Faces K, we go down and we find that song, find the album, and we're going to listen to the song Hypocrites in Espanol. Where'd that damn thing go? Where did the damn... Oh, it's just hanging down here. In Español, muere. If that's the way you say it. Come on, you son of a bitch. You'd think I'd be a little more prepared for things like this, but I'm not. I don't have an ounce of preparedness in me. So let's do this right now. Jesus. This is the Magic Nipple Titty. I got to give you a taste of it so I can sync the song up so we can both listen to it at the very same time and clap our ass cheeks together. Sound good? Tit, you're getting some. Here we go. For Faces K, let's do it. Hypocrites. Habla Español O Muere. I knew this was going to be heavier because it was the... Oh yeah, this got 86 on it. Oh, there we go. Come on, I got nothing. Scotty is the guy for the job, right?
Speak Spanish or die.
This Dan Milker on the bass, I don't know who it is.
Spanish or die.
Love the sound of that bass. It's almost got an overkill sound to it. Is that slide guitar? Boop.
Habla Español O
Yeah, you gotta, perfect. You gotta hit that, you gotta stop that on a dime. Put it, bungle grind. It's interesting to me that they went from like they said, like a death metal, like a really heavy band, to kind of just going, let's get alto sax in there and just get really freaking weird. From that first demo that they've now released that we're talking about and listening to here, to the Mr. Bungle album, because that is just bizarreness all the way through. And you just go, what was the song called? Macaroni? Eat My Macaroni? I can't remember. I listened to the whole album and I was just like, I don't know how to swallow this. I don't know how to, it's like a Brussels sprouts or something. It's good for you. If you chew it up and eat it, it's good for you, but it doesn't taste very good, at least not to my palates. But what say you? Most important part of my videos, as always, is where you get in the comments below and tell me exactly what you thought of Mr. Bungle and Hypocrites in Español O Muere. Good, great, fantastic, Shane. I'm a huge fan of Mr. Bungle. They call me Mr. Bungle Man at work. Not because I bungle things up, but they just call me Mr. Bungle Man. I never really figured out why. All-time favorite album from Mr. Bungle. Have you seen them live in some capacity over the years? I would be really interested if you saw them in the earliest of days off that first Mr. Bungle record, or maybe Disco Volante. I would be interested in hearing about that. All-time favorite songs, all-time favorite album from this band. Have you ever met Mike Patton? I would love to meet him. I would love to pick his brain and see what he's all about. The guy does, I think he's fluent in Spanish, because he does another band that wasn't listed in all of those things, and I can't remember the name, but it is a Spanish name, and it's with an actual orchestra. And he gets up there and says, and so I would love to know more about that. Or you could say, not good, not great, Shane, I don't like Mr. Bungle. They're wacky, they're weird. It's bizarre and strange to me. I can't clap the ass or tap the toes to it. Just not my cup of tea. Huge fan of Mike Patton, but Mr. Bungle is something I don't regularly go to and listen to. Not my cup of tea, don't want it, don't need it, I'm out of here. All of that can be put in the comments below. If you have a hard rock heavy metal special request, you know what to do. Hit one of them links in the description, or you can put it in the comments. If I see it, like it, we haven't done it here, I'll hit it with the heart, and I'll tell you I'm going to do your request for you, okay? That's all I got. La cucaracha, renda bota que te doy.